Hi there, I'm Tobe Allen. I'm a writer and mental health advocate, and I'm also one half of the BARROW Podcast, which is the show I do with my mum, where we talk about divorce, dysfunctional families, mental illness, our experience with all of that, while we are in the process of trying to write and complete and hopefully publish a memoir together. This is just a short video. I thought I would do some short videos that were perhaps supplemental to what we do on the podcast. Some of the things that we talk about where, I've reflected on those things and thought, maybe I want to say a little bit more about that. So today I want to talk about something that I'm thinking of calling access trauma. Now, I also think that there's a little bit too much talk about trauma, so I'm loath to use the term. But at the same time, on a serious note, I did want to reflect on access visitations and being the being the child in that scenario. So not for parents, but for people who went through access as children. I think another word I might use is recipient, the recipient of access arrangements. I don't really want to use the word victim. It's quite loaded and it's a little bit, again, it's a bit like trauma. It's probably a little too much. But certainly I've been thinking more about access arrangements, access visits, and really the effect and the legacy of those things on me, but the kind of mark that it leaves on people, regardless of whether it's a worst case or best case scenario. And that's something I kind of want to get away from, is I don't really want to use trauma and victim and worst case scenarios. And I also don't want to kind of set people off where they're, commenting that, oh, well, I had a great time and, this is all in your mind. I just wanted to reflect in a kind of sober and sensible and as neutral as I can be kind of a way that is, maybe beneficial to the people who listen. I'm not, and I kind of want to make a disclaimer, is that, I'm not a mental health professional. I'm not a medical professional. I'm kind of just in an advocacy space, which is that I talk about these things and I reflect on them. And of course, I don't say anything with the intention of being hurtful or upsetting anybody. These are reflections and thoughts based off lived experiences, my own. And they're just that. They're just reflections. So if they're useful for someone to hear, that's great. If it's not, it's not. Two of the things that I want to talk about in this video really quickly is the process of, in the access arrangement, of being removed and the kind of effect of that. I always found it really disturbing to be removed from my mother, and I found it really distressing. I didn't want to go on access, and I was really distraught over being removed. And that kind of emotional and physical forced removal was it was really hard, and it had a profound effect on me. And it's just something that I want to highlight. That is part of the legacy of that experience, and that is what is traumatic about it, even in a best case scenario where you're having to leave, you're having to be removed from an environment that you're accustomed to, leave your things behind, put your life on hold, go off with someone else. It is a hardship. It's a minor, it might be a minor hardship in some cases. It might be a major hardship in other cases, but it is a hardship, and I don't really hear people talking about it. And I just wanted to go on record and sort of mention that. The other thing about access arrangements that I think really, the extent to which anything affects us is to do with who we are. And so some people are more resilient than others. It's just true. Some people are, in my case, more isolated than others. I've talked about on the show that I do with Mum, I've talked about being only children. You don't have an inbuilt network of support. You don't have siblings to kind of cross-check and reference things with. And so you sort of endure it alone. And certainly in my case, being an only child has compounded the effects of these things. And then, just being inclined one way or the other. I mean, it's got a lot to do with disposition, right? So, I'm sensitive. Too much so, probably. Sure, but I am as well. So that's what I just want to also say that I'm aware of that too. But I think that in any access arrangement and my feeling of it, and I wonder if other people feel this, that you sort of become an object. So you become a package or a parcel that is being collected and delivered and dropped off. And I think that's fundamentally, it's kind of baked into the access arrangement, is this child as object or child reduced to object. And some children will really sense that and really feel that. Others may not, but certainly I did. It's interesting to note that in my case, so I was born in 88, so my parents were baby boomers, but neither of them had experiences with divorce themselves, and neither of them had experienced access visits and access arrangements and all those things. So there was a lack of insight or knowledge from both parents on the potential effect, or just they never lived it. I think I was always somewhat amazed by my father, particularly my father's kind of cavalier attitude towards this, that this should just have no effect, when, I was visibly upset during those experiences. And I think it would be good for more people of my age group to, to speak about what that was like. And certainly, if you've lived through it, hopefully you've cultivated a sensitivity towards it, so that if your own children have to live those experiences themselves, you might be better able to sort of manage their feelings and their experiences of it. But also, I guess it's kind of why I'm putting this out there, is that, like, if you didn't go through it yourself as a child, don't convince yourself that children are just spectacularly resilient and this won't affect them. It definitely does. It has an effect. And as I say, it might be minor, it might be major. Don't know, it depends on the individual, but certainly something to think about, be aware of. And that's really all I wanted to say. So if you've had similar experiences, or if any of this resonates, feel free to comment down below. And please check out the program that Mum and I are making, the BARROW Podcast. We talk all about this kind of thing there as well. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching.